It's been 19 years since a Premier League title for Arsenal. They were Invincibles back then, but the current team is close to making their own history. Pep's protégé may well win Manager of the Season. The captain has turned it around. This duo have gone from City substitutes to key components, and the Emirates has been rocking all season. So can the Gunners go all the way and win their first league title for almost 2 decades? Hello there and welcome to Football Now from Doha. On this week's episode of the show, we're taking a look at the Premier League title race. Now in 2004, Arsenal did something which no team in the history of the division has ever done before. Go a full league season without losing a game. Almost 20 years on, the Invincibles are still talked about today, but the current squad are writing a chapter of their own as they close in on a first title for almost 2 decades. After missing out on the Champions League last year, Arsenal's stellar season has been a surprise to many. The signings of Man City duo Alexander Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus provided intrigue and perhaps a bit of excitement, but fans could have been forgiven for underestimating the impact that they've had this campaign. The same could be said for goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale, who has gone on to prove all of his critics wrong. And so to the football. After sweeping away Crystal Palace in the opening game of the season, the Gunners never looked back. Wins against North London rivals Tottenham, Liverpool and Chelsea were part of a run that saw them win 13 out of their first 15 Premier League matches. 2023 has proved slightly trickier. A defeat to then bottom side Everton, arguably the club's worst moment of the season so far. But Mikel Arteta's side have shown grit and determination, not least when they held on for a point in one of the games of the season at Anfield. Next up, it's Manchester City, and the eyes of the world will be watching.
Well, we saw the signs last season that something special was about to happen at the Emirates. You saw that Mikel Arteta was having his idea of football being put on the pitch. Little by little, the squad was being reconstructed. Some of the players from previous times that didn't quite fit the vision, didn't quite fit the blueprint, were quite ruthlessly discarded. And he managed to put players on the pitch that wanted and could play the system that he wanted to. A lot of running, a lot of pressing, good organisation, real invention on the ball, and a team emerged that functioned better than almost any other team in the Premier League. They play like a real team, and there's a real unity and alignment between what the coach wants to do and how the team is built.
Well, the man hoping to lead the Gunners to glory is Mikel Arteta. He spent 5 years as a key part of Arsenal's midfield, eventually leaving in 2016. And at 40 years old, he's bidding to become the youngest manager ever to win the Premier League. But his reign hasn't always been plain sailing. After failing to qualify for the Champions League last year, some questioned just whether he was the right man for the job. But he's responded to that criticism, and in some style too.
I think, to be honest with you, to have swallowed all the criticism that was aimed at him from the very beginning when they were obviously losing at the time of the Premier League, to then sort of all the criticism that he got when he couldn't make top 4, and then turn this around and fuel his players. And I think that the way that he has developed from being sort of always regarded as Pep's number 2 to now being a great coach in his own right, it's rather wonderful to watch, considering his age and perhaps the way that people viewed him before. He's really changed that reputation around, and I think it's super impressive right now, and certainly one and a man who would be appealing to any team to have as their coach.
Well, since Arsenal last won the Premier League, they've had to watch 5 other sides lift that famous trophy, including London rivals Chelsea on separate occasions as well. Going for so long without winning the title will have been difficult for their supporters to stomach. So what would it mean to them to become league champions again?
It would be one of the biggest achievements in Arsenal history, I think, if this Mikel Arteta side can win the Premier League against this Man City team that are just juggernauts that have done it time and time again. You know, yeah, obviously Arsene Wenger and the Invincibles is untouched for us in terms of our history, but I think this would be the biggest shock, and it'd have the biggest impact on our club and the future of Arsenal as well. You know, we've proven that it can be done if you have a little bit of trust in a young manager and you trust the process, sort of thing, which I know is a football cliche. It can, you know, reap the rewards eventually, and it would just be one of the biggest achievements in Arsenal history, and I think one of the biggest surprises in Premier League history as well, that we've managed to beat the Manchester City side. So yeah, it would just be huge. It would be huge, and for me personally, would be amazing, and it'd top off a really good year.
Well, the team just below Arsenal have been the league's dominant force over the past few years or so. Manchester City have won 4 out of the last 5 titles on offer, and they won't go down without a fight this year either. So just how difficult will it be for the leaders to fend off Pep Guardiola's side as the season draws to a close?
I look at that game at Anfield and I think this Premier League title race is too emotional for Arsenal. I'm not seeing the control, the aggressiveness from the Liverpool side that obviously won the league a few years ago. I think Arsenal might have an issue of playing 1 game a week. Yeah, it's good for injuries, but you almost want to be playing once every few days to keep up the confidence. City have got these games to bounce between. We can bounce between an FA Cup game, between the Champions League games, hopefully, in the latter stages of that competition. We could put our heads down and look up at the end of May and have won almost every game and be on for a treble. Obviously, playing Arsenal at the Etihad is a massive moment. We've beaten them already there in the FA Cup. We've beaten them at the Emirates, where I thought we looked comfortable. As much as they're rivals at the moment, as much as I think we'll beat them at the Etihad, I think we'll win the league. That's just my take, and that's not a biased sort of take. I think Arsenal have been superb this season.
They're on the verge of history then, but I'm sure it won't be a foregone conclusion as another Premier League season nears its end. That is us out of time for this week's show. Do let us know your thoughts at home using the hashtag FootballNowArsenal, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.